Hey YouTube! Alright you guys, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Jessica and I'm the owner and operator of Round Town Candle Co. I'm a small hand-poured soy wax candle business based out of a little town in Ohio. And if this is your first time on my channel, then I would recommend that you stop right where you are and you go to my previous video because that is part 1. So if you want to watch it in order, that would be a good thing to do. So if you saw part 1 of this video series or whatever, this is something new I'm trying. So obviously I do candles, tea lights, wax melts, and I decided to give it a shot with the car freshies. So I went through in part 1 and I showed you guys how to get to this point where the fragrance is added into these aroma beads. So I'm definitely not going to repeat that because it's already been said. So if you have not yet seen part 1, you may want to check that out first. So today we're going to actually make these freshies. I want to show you guys that process. So I have made some already. I've actually made like 4 different ones. I've got one in my car. My daughter's got one in her car, a different scent. So I wanted to kind of test them to see how good they are, if they're strong, you know, things like that. So we've already played around with it a little bit. So today is going to be just a little bit of an experiment on my side of things because I'm not in my home kitchen making these. I am actually coming to you from my camper. So if you follow my channel at all, you will notice that probably a couple times in the past I have recorded from the camper, and it's just easier because I have family. I have a husband and kids and they are in the house right now, and so rather than disrupt their evening and take over the kitchen and everything, I just decided it will be easier for me to come out here and see what we can do. So I'm not 100% sure on the differences in the baking time because my oven inside my house is an electric oven. This one is run off of propane. It's a gas oven, so we'll see. We'll just give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? They won't turn out and it'll be fine. So, but we're gonna give this a shot. So I have this little container that I got from IKEA, and I have quite a few of these in the house and in my candle studio, and so this is great for transporting this stuff out here. So let me get this stuff set up, and actually let's do this. I have these handy dandy little deals that go over the kitchen sink and give me some more counter space, so we're going to use those. Perfect. All right, so to start, my nonstick cookie sheet that I bought, which is actually the size that fits the camper too, so yay for that. And then parchment paper, I just cut down into these little squares just for the sake of doing that because it just makes it easier so that it's not pouring off the edges of the cookie sheet. So what I will do is I'm going to start to get this stuff ready, but I will change my camera view. That way you guys can actually see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So let me do that real fast. All right, guys, so I have now got this camera view off of me and onto this cookie sheet so that you can see how I do this step by step. So I am going to place the cookie cutters over top of the parchment paper, and I will just start with the 4. I could do 5, but I'm just gonna start with 4 for now. And so you just lay your cookie cutters on there, and then I have nails. These are just like I don't even know what size or whatever. This is a good size nail. And I'm going to take the nail and I'm just going to put it where I want my string to go when I'm finished for these to be able to be hanging from the rear view mirror of a vehicle. So just put those down there. Perfect. And then we're gonna start the process of getting these beads ready. So I just give them another final shake and pop the lid off. Sometimes these little beads want to stick to the lid a little bit. I've had that happen a couple times, so I just pull it off pretty carefully so that way they don't go flying. So, all right. Oh, that smells really good. This is bourbon butterscotch. So you just pour these beads in here. And there's really no super right or wrong way to do this. It's basically however big or small you want your car freshie to be. So with what I've already done in the past, the other day, I actually put more in there than what I wanted to. So I'm gonna scoop some out. So I just have this spoon. This is just one of these long stir spoons that I use for when I'm making candles to stir in fragrance oil. I have some extras. So, all right, so then basically you're just gonna go around with your finger and level this out. Make sure that the beads are even in there. And that's pretty much it right there. So I'm actually going to do 4 different scents. So what I'll do is I just line up my jars, and that way I know which one's which. Of course you can smell to tell, but anyways. All right. Same thing on this one. It smells good. So you just pour them in here and even them out with your finger. Like so. All right, looks good there. Pretty even. And for the next one, again, just kind of spreading them out. Try to make sure it's even. You want your freshie to look as good as possible when it's done. Want them to look professional. Profeshies. All right, and the last one, and I knocked that nail over. So I mentioned in the last video, see this one has just a couple sticking to the lid, so I just knock them back in there. I mentioned on the first video of this that, let's see. You know what, guys? I am not gonna do this one. I am not gonna do this one. I did all of these together the other day, but do you see how there's still just a few beads that are sticking to the side of this jar? I don't really like that. I don't think that we are fully absorbed on the fragrance. So I'm actually just gonna back that one out. We're just not gonna do that, little dude. We'll wait on that one. So we're gonna do these 3. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven and set a timer. And I mentioned on my video, roughly about 6 to 10 minutes. I found inside that 8 minutes was perfect. So we will see how that changes, being that I'm in the camper. So let me get these in the oven and then I'll be back with you. So let's see what happens. Okay guys, I am back. I just pulled these out of the oven and it looks like I just fix these. I just pulled these out of the oven. So we're going to check and see if they are ready or not. So because I am using a different oven than I used last time, I went ahead and set the timer for 6 minutes. So basically I'm just touching them, and the beads are wanting to pull up onto my finger. Like if I try hard enough here, I'm being very gentle. But if I push down and come up, I'm gonna lift these beads up with my fingers. So that tells me that they are not quite finished yet. So I'm gonna put them back in, and I will probably set the timer for about 60 seconds because I don't wanna overdo it, just go a little bit at a time. So let me pop these back in, and then we'll check them in another minute. Okay guys, so I ended up doing a minute and checking them, and it was still the same. They were still sticking to my finger. So I did another minute. So for the oven in the RV, I ended up doing a total of 8 minutes, where inside the house, I believe I just did 7. Maybe I did 8. I need to check my notes when I go in there. So 8 minutes seems to be good for me. So I can sit here and do this, and they're not pulling up. So now what I do is I take this spoon that I use, my little stir spoon. I better put my fancy glove back on so I don't burn myself. And I just go around the edges and just kind of push them down, because the beads along the edges stick up a bit. And so if you just go along and kind of push them down, it'll help prevent a bunch of rough edges. Now, if you do have rough edges, like for me with this particular cookie cutter, it's hard for me to get up here on the top by the nail. So if you do have rough edges on yours, you can so easily just snip them off with scissors, and I can show you that. So I'm just going to go through and kind of level out the edges as much as I can. All right. You don't even have to do this part. You can just take them out as they are when they're cool. And then if there's any rough edges, you can just cut them off. I'm just trying to keep as much of the beads as I can. I don't really want to have to cut a bunch of them off or throw them away. So I'm just really quickly going over them like so. Okay, cool. That's it. That is exactly how easy that is. So let me flip my camera back around and we'll finish things up here. All right, guys. And if you watched my first video, I couldn't find my little clicker and I found it. So now I can just do that and I don't have to reach across. So, all right. So basically I'm just going to let these cool completely before I take them out of the molds. So I posted the supplies list under the first video, and sorry, there's a train. Posted the supply list on part 1, and I will post it here as well again, but I've got these cutest little bags that I got off of Amazon, and I like that they have the little deal there so that I can hang them, because I do have a rotating thing that I'm thinking about maybe putting these on so that they can hang there, and then you can just spin them around and pick whichever scent. So these bags, but even if I don't end up doing that, these are really good bags. They seem to fit in there perfectly for my mold, and they do not let any of the scent out, so that is good. So I made 3 of these, so I'll get these bags ready. And I have these little stickers that I made on my printer that just has my logo and then the name of the scent. And so I basically will just take that and put it right on the bag. And it sticks perfectly. And then there you go. again, I just wanted to keep it simple with just my logo and then the scent. So let me put these on here while these are cooling. All right, so I put one in my vehicle over the weekend. I just wanted to practice with it. And you know, it's essentially like when you're making candles, like you have to do your testers and everything like that. So because this is my first time with this, I obviously wanted to test. There we go. I wanted to test it out first because I don't want to just assume that it's going to be great and then start selling it and find out maybe that it's not. And also, I'm not exactly sure on the amount of fragrance that I'm using with the amount of beads that I have. I don't know for sure if that's going to be strong enough or too strong or just right or whatever. So I made a few the other day, and I've got one in my car, which I think it smells really good, and I just get so happy when I get my car because I'm just like, you know how it is. You know, you forget about it for a minute, you open the door, and then you smell it, and you're like, I made that. That's my scent, and that's, you know, my creation, and it's so fun. So, of course, my daughter was like, I want one, Mom. So she took the strawberries and cream and put it in her car, and we smelled it last night. It smelled really good. And then today she sent me a message and she said, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. My car smells so good. And so I was really excited to hear that. So we'll see how long they last and kind of judge from there before I actually start to sell them. So that's where we are right now. So these cool pretty quickly, and I want to make sure that it's not quite cool enough yet, but they're getting there. I want to make sure it's cool before I take it out of the cookie cutter. So I can't believe how simple these are. And like, I see people all the time with car freshies, and especially the ones like I talked about that are really colorful and cool designs and all that. And then I just started to think, and I have talked to a couple of my customers, and one customer in particular, she has trouble with candles, store-bought candles and stuff like that. And she told me that she hasn't burnt candles for like 20 years because they irritate her throat so much and give her headache. So she tried one of mine because she had seen, you know, found me on Facebook through a friend or whatever. And I was talking about how I use soy wax and how that's helped me because I suffered from awful headaches, you know, from candles and stuff like that. So she tried them out and she was really excited and said that it worked for her and she didn't have any irritation. So she's been burning my candles, which it's funny because she told me she had placed another order, and when she came to pick them up, she actually confessed to me that she sometimes forgets to burn them because she's so used to not being able to burn candles. So that's kind of cool. So anyways, the last time that she was in picking up candles, she said, look, I know you're busy, you probably have a lot going on, but if you want a suggestion, I would love if you would do car freshies because I can't have any car freshies because they give me headaches or make my throat itch and drive me crazy. And I'm thinking that's actually a perfect idea because I'm the same way. I told you guys in the last video, the car wash, they give you the free little, you know, the little cardboard one that looks like a car or whatever to put in there. And I put one in the first time and drove straight home, got out of my car and went inside, and I was like, oh, that smells good. And the next day I came out and it was like, I don't know, only thing I can compare it to is if you dumped a bottle of cologne on yourself. Like it was bad. It was really bad for me. And so I don't use car fresheners at all, like vent clips or nothing like that. So when she said that to me, I was like, yes, this makes perfect sense. Why didn't I think about that? So here we are, finally. I've had to go through a few projects to get ready for this point. So I'm going to be really excited when I can let her know that I have these ready. And I think that's a great thing too, is ask your customers. Ask your customers what they like, what they would like to see, or what scent, a different scent that you don't think about that maybe they're interested in, because those are the people who are supporting your business. And so it's important to get feedback from them. And obviously not everything they say is going to happen, and not everything that they suggest is something that you'll want to do, or maybe will even be able to do. But it's always nice because you want your customers to feel heard, and you want them to feel like their opinion matters, and with your small business. So I'm really super excited. I'm looking forward to being able to tell her that I have these available. So I can now touch this cookie cutter without burning my hand off. So it's stuck to the parchment paper, but it pulls away super easy. You definitely do not want to use wax paper. If you use wax paper, that would be a nightmare. All right, so I'm just making sure I'm not gonna burn my little handsies off. I'll probably put gloves on just because I prefer to do that. So this part is super simple. Not the putting the gloves on part. I'm struggling with that right now. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right. So we'll pull these up. So basically what I do when I pull them up, I guess I consider this to be the top just for the sake of, because this is, top up on there. So I start with the bottom and I just go around and I just gently push around the sides with my fingers. Nothing crazy, but I just push, and you can hear it kind of starting to release away. And so I'll just push, and I just work my way up and down to keep it even. I don't want it to get jammed in there. And then I just push it right out. I've seen some people that will use like a cooking spray to do this, and I don't do that. I don't really think I need to. They don't stick. You just have to work around. Like that just took me, what, I don't know, 30 seconds. And so now this is what we have. This is what it looks like. And you can see there's just a little bit of the beads sticking up on the edge, but not nearly as much as what there would have been if I hadn't pushed them down. And then there's the back side. So let me go ahead and take these other ones out. Just push those through. I think they actually come out really easy, which is why I don't use any kind of cooking spray. But I mean, some people probably say we'll be even faster with cooking spray, and that's totally cool. I just don't think I need it. All right, last one. All right, cool, there we go. So now we have the nail, and just make sure that that nail is not still hot, because, obviously 350-degree oven. And then I just push that through the back, and I kind of like do this as I'm doing it, sort of just to make sure that the hole for the string is like nice and hollowed out. Do you have to do that? Probably not. I just do it. Cool. Put that in there. Another thing that I did that I didn't know I would have to do, when I got these nails they came in like a box of nails you can buy from anywhere. And we already had these at the house, so I just snatched up 4 or 5 of them to have in my little kit here. But one thing I did first, when I grabbed the nails out, I looked at my fingers, like my fingers were kind of black. So I took the nail and put it in my hand, and I sprayed it with rubbing alcohol, which is what I use just to clean in general in my candle studio. And then I took a paper towel and just wiped them off. So like I literally cleaned the nails before I used them, because like I said, it had gotten like this black, sort of black on my fingers, and that probably would have transferred over onto my freshie had I not done that. So I would recommend maybe cleaning your nail first before you put it through there, or whatever you use to put through there. All right. Cool, there they are. They're so pretty. All right, let me see here. I should have yes, scissors in the camper, cool. All right, and then I have this string, which this is this elastic string, basically like the same string that you have when you get a car freshener, you know, so you can pull it around your mirror. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it and probably do, I don't know, roughly 12 inches or something like that. I guess I can take these gloves off for this part. All right, so let me do a couple more of these. Again, I posted the links for these products in the description on my last video, and I'll do it again on this video. So if you guys have been on my channel before, then you know I live in Ohio and I talk about the weather, the summer, whatever. So it is June 20th today. It should be super hot. It's not. It is oddly windy, and it was like 67 degrees when I came out here, which it's 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. But the humidity that I've talked about has kicked in. So my hair was like not doing well today at all. So it got pulled back. So there's that. All right, so now on the string, now that I did it like that, it doesn't look like it's very much, but I guess it does do that. You guys, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure this part out. So let's see what we've got. I may want to cut that longer. So basically on the end of it, you're going to tie a knot. I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy with that. Let me try this again. Let me do just a little bit bigger of a piece. I think that'll work, but let's try this. Just a little bit bigger. All right. So you're just gonna tie it and then tie it again so that it creates a little knot. You can kind of push that one up there. All right, so pull that tight so that it'll stay. And then on the loopy, okay, so there you go. So I just tied it. I just tied it like that. So then where you have the loop, just squeeze that together, and you just want to feed it through the hole that you had made with your nail. And once it comes through, you're going to pull it up, and then this side here, you're just going to go through the loop. And then you're just going to pull it like that. And here's your finished product. And you can kind of, there we go. So it looks like this. And then you can take your elastic, and obviously you can go around your mirror with that. Now, what I need to do is I need to make sure that this is going to be a good size for the mirror, because again, I'm kind of just starting this process. So the one that I have hung in my car, I actually used a piece of twine because this hadn't come yet, and I really liked the look of it a lot, but then I thought it would be extremely hard to, I mean, obviously you can't really prejudge twine to go around your mirror. It would be huge and hang way down because it doesn't give. And I don't know how people would feel about tying it across the mirror themselves, if that's actually something people would do, or if they like it like this where you can just go in and stretch it around. So I don't know, all these little things I think about and, you know, need to iron out. So let me go ahead and do this. So when you're testing a candle, you can't have really anybody test it for you, because you have to be able to see how the wick is performing and the melt pool, and you need to know the scent throw, and those are really only things that the maker can tell. So the thing about this that's different is, like I said, I put one, you know, because my daughter would ask me before, you know, oh, can I test that candle in my room? And I'm like, no, not really, because I need to be able to record, you know, burn times and kind of how it's burning and the scent and things like that. And it's not that she can't do that, but you know, she's 17 years old. She might be easily distracted and, you know, forget about it, or not note down, or not know exactly what all to do right now. So I don't really let her do any of the testing on that, but I did let her test this out, and I think it would be fine to do that for family or friends or whatever, because this is really straightforward. You obviously just, when it stops smelling in your car, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, I can't smell it anymore, and then you pretty much know what's up. So that's an idea too. If you want to have people to test these for you, that's fun too. And she likes to do stuff like that. She likes to be involved in it, and she is absolutely awesome and helps me out when I need it. So that's cool. So she gets the strawberry one in her car. All right, so I almost have this done. And as you can see, it's not really like difficult, not even really time consuming. It probably wouldn't even take me this long if I wasn't also talking at the same time. So this isn't too bad at all. I could definitely sit and make a pan of these pretty easy. So I'm just trying to decide on things like final pricing, how I want to do my price point. I'm trying to decide how many I want to have on hand versus maybe just doing made to order, that type of thing. So really, I'm just at the point now where I'm just trying to iron out those final details. So there's the last one. So there you go. There's no color to it. It's not fancy. It does look super pretty when the sun hits it, because it, I don't know, it almost, can you see that? It's almost like, just even with the light in here, it's almost like kind of a shiny look to it. So it looks really pretty when the sunlight hits it in the car. And it's just, it's a candle jar, you guys. I'm a candle maker. So that's what I'm gonna do. And we'll see how it goes. So super easy. You guys saw how easy that was. And if you have not already dealt with these at all, if you have never tried to make them, make sure I have the right one in the right bag, I would encourage you to do so, because it's a great addition to your product lineup that's relatively easy to do. You could do, obviously, any shape that you want, or different shapes. You could add color. You can do design. People paint them and do different things like that. There's really like a ton of options for it. But I think it's just going to be a nice offering for people who like the scent of my candles and enjoy burning them, but then maybe also want to have those same scents in their car. Oh, that's good. These are so good. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm really anxious to actually start selling them, so that I can see what the reaction is from my customers and see if it's going to be a hit or not. It might be a flop. You never know. That's the thing about it. Okay, I just cut myself off, and I had to lean across because my timer just went off, which is for dinner, which is in the oven in the house. So I got to scoot. But anyways, the point is, you guys, you just never know until you try it. So this might be a flop. It might be a hit. I don't know. I'm going to find out soon. But sometimes you just got to take a leap and see what happens. And thankfully, the materials for this are not so crazy expensive that if it is a flop, that I'm going to be out and devastated and all that stuff. Because, I mean, for one thing, I'll use these. I'm sure my family will too. But, yeah. So here we go. This is what it looks like finished. I'm super happy with them. So let me know if you guys do these freshies. Leave me some comments and let me know if you do, how it's done with your sales, if you've noticed that they're a hit or a bust, or, you know, kind of how it goes, what type you do. Like, leave a picture if you want. It'd be cool just to see what kind of style you have, if you do colors and a bunch of different varieties, or if you just do one. So anyways, all right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will definitely keep you posted as to how the freshie release goes and how that all ends up. So I will, yeah, I'll be posting about that. And if you don't follow me on Facebook, look Round Town Candle Co. on Facebook, because I post everything there first as far as new products, stuff I'm working on, new scent releases and all that, just random updates. So you can always go there if you're actually interested in purchasing something from me. But, you know, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. So if you're not subscribed, you should definitely do that. And I will catch you guys later. I gotta go get dinner out of the oven. See you guys. Maybe. Okay, blooper. Here's a blooper. Here's a blooper for you. Can't get my clicker to click off. All right, see you guys.